What's up, America? YouTube. Welcome to another installment of the Mad Mind of Stephen Kelly. So, today we finally heard from Steve Bannon. And his words, I'm not going to say I found them shocking. One of the things he said was that he said something about they're going to try and take your country back, and every day is going to be a fight. Well, my first question, Steve, is who are they? And what makes you think that this country belongs to a singular group, which is what you implied when you said, take your country back? And what do you mean by a fight, Steve? What do you mean by that? After this interview at the Republican whatever it was, convention or whatever the fuck it was, I walked away realizing that this country is indeed in the hands of racist people. When your top advisor is a man like Steve Bannon, what kind of man does that make Donald Trump? Say, for instance, I'm the president, and my top advisor is a Crip or a Blood. Or a cartel member. What does that tell you about me? It's pretty clear what that tells you about me. And that 41% of the people in the United States actually think that Donald Trump and his cabinet are good for this country. What does that say about them? I know that I not only despise racism and bigotry and all the other isms because I'm black, but I despise it because it's wrong. That was not God's idea. That was not his idea when he created us. That is the idea of man. And that's why I say to you, YouTube, mankind will be humbled. I believe that we will be broken down to our lowest compound. And it ain't gonna be rebuilt by human hands. This is work that is going to be done by God Himself. Because those people who voted for racism, bigotry, and all that other stuff, they are showing us. Let me go here real quick. As I said in another video, God lets calamity happen most oftentimes to show people who they really are. And most of these people who voted for Donald Trump and all that other and that bullshit, you know what I mean? They're the first motherfuckers that'll tell you they're Christians. I really don't give a fuck what religion you are. If your religion involves hatred, racism, and bigotry, then what good is it? I am reminded of the first things that happened to the slaves when they came aboard those ships from Africa. They were stripped of their clothes, they were beaten, they were told that they were niggers, and that's all that they were. And somewhere along that voyage, somebody came with that book. While they were being beaten, they were preached at. All men know who God is. All men. All peoples on earth know God. That book is not representative of who God is. That book was used to beat the humanity out of people. Human beings. Am I going to say that the Bible is bad? No. But it was used to destroy human beings, and it was used by so-called Christians. You were savages. They did the same thing to the American Indian. You know, I gotta be honest with you, YouTube. I'm not proud to be an American. I'm not. Not right now, I'm not. Because, like, here's the deal, I have 2 kids out there in that world, and the thought that someone would do something to them because of the color of their skin drives me up the wall. The thought that somebody could say something fucked up to one of my children drives me crazy. I say it over and over again. I personally don't give a fuck what you believe. You want to be racist and bigoted? That's fine with me. I don't give a shit. But when you reach out of your hatred and try to do harm to other people, that's when things must change. And change quickly. I am I go from being angry about this situation we find ourselves in to being sad that we have stooped to this level. And I gotta be honest with you, YouTube, this smells like shit. It really does. That an asshole like Steve Bannon would have the ear of the President of the United States. Wow. He wants to deconstruct the establishment and turn it into what, Steve? Turn it into what, man? It's already fucked up enough as it is. What, all the so-called progress that we've made. We go back? We go backwards because of 41% of the motherfuckers into 41% of Americans feel like motherfuckers should be oppressed because they're oppressed. Listen, racism is a byproduct of power. No question. When the wealthy and the rich oppress the poor begin to feel like they can't fight back against them. So they fight back against those who they feel they have more power than. Well, I got news for you, Trumpies. You guys are going to get a real big fucking surprise, man. Because even though you may be white, and even though there's some token black people in there too, trying to be something that they ain't, you're going to suffer the consequences for this. Because not only did you put some racist, bigoted motherfuckers in the White House, but you also put a whole bunch of business people in there. And let me ask you a question. Do you think your boss's boss's boss, the CEO, gives a fuck about you? Well, that's who you put in that office. They don't give a fuck about your family. I guess this is just one of the moves, man, where I'm just depressed about this whole shit. And the fact that I have to deal with this. I'm out.